Hello YouTube, here we are on episode 3 of Witching Hour Wednesdays. If you haven't watched our channel before, my name is Haley and I'm one of the co-creators to the RTF Paranormal crew. If you can't see, I am not joined by my co-host Becca today or any guest members, so it'll just be me rolling solo for this video. And this series is just us talking about paranormal experiences and ghost stories, so I will get right into it. The stories that I'm going to be talking about today are stories involving a paranormal investigating group that I was in high school. And it wasn't a very high-level investigation, of course, because we were in high school. It was very amateur. We only had a few pieces of equipment and just a few of us that went around to abandoned houses and things like that that were rumored to be haunted from other people that had been there. And so it was like a gold mine. Every time we heard about something like that, we're like, well, let's go. And there was this house, like a couple neighborhoods down, and it was abandoned completely. I don't know if it was just to be condemned or if the people had moved out and no realtors had put locks on it, but it wasn't locked. It was an open home, a 2-story home. And first off, I should say, I have said in one of the previous videos that I do come from a family of people that are very spirit sensitive. My grandma used to do tarot card readings and all that for people. She wasn't like a full-on psychic. She just practiced a little bit. But we do have feelings that we get from certain residual energies. If they're strong enough or powerful enough, I could feel like emotions like such as like depression, sadness, grief, those type of things. This was one of the only times that I had experienced a physical pain from a residual energy. So it was very violent, I'm assuming, because just of the story and the feeling that I got. So I will go ahead and get right into that. The home that we were investigating, my group in high school, was a 2-story home, and immediately when you walked through the front door, to your right was the kitchen and dining area, and then to your left was the living room, and the staircase went straight up the middle to the 2nd floor. And we had already been up on the 2nd floor and done everything up there, and we had like a few good noises of like footsteps and a couple EVPs that weren't very high class. They were just like whispers or like growling type things that it wasn't like anything that was to make us go like, oh my god, listen to this, but it was definitely there. We definitely got something. And when we were walking from downstairs, when we were walking from the living area, like past the staircase and the front door to go into the kitchen area, I swore that through my peripheral vision I could see a black figure standing at the top of the stairs. And I looked up and it was gone. And one other person in our group had said that they saw something very similar, if not the same thing, and then everybody else either wasn't looking or they didn't see it. And so as we proceeded into the kitchen after that jump start of an experience, we had begun an EVP session, and this is where we got a very high-class EVP. This is where I lost my beautiful EVP recorder I had bought, and it was an EVP came through in this really like dark, heavy voice that wasn't happy. I don't know that it was necessarily a man because it was very muffled, but it just said, "This device is mine." And so I just threw it, like, damn sure is, you can keep it, like, it's yours. He said so. I had to leave it there. It had to stay. And so that's how I lost my $100 EVP recorder that I loved so much, because he said so. It was his. I didn't have a choice. And so I definitely didn't want to take that home with me after that, because that was just like send chills down your spine. And not long after we had reviewed the recording, while we were still sitting in the kitchen dining area, we're sitting there listening to the recorder, and we had got that a teapot, I kid you not, comes off the counter in the kitchen and flies across the room and smashed against the wall in between of me and my friend Nick at the time. Needless to say, we bolted. We went out of the house immediately, and that was just too much. The teapot, so there was some poltergeist activity in the home, obviously, by that, and it was backing out. And then the EVP led to something else. There was a lot of shadow figures. When we had gotten outside, one of my friend's EVP recorders had picked up the same EVP that mine did. Like, it was very faint, like as if it was in the background, like it didn't come on her EVP recorder. It was on mine, but like she heard it like from the playback. And so she still has a copy of that, or at least I think she does. I'm not really too in touch with these people anymore. I haven't been in high school for a while now. And when we first walked into the house, the feeling of like residual pain that I was talking about earlier that I got, when first walking into the home, I immediately started to get this just like splitting headache, and it just progressively got worse and worse and worse the longer we were there, to the point where it felt like my head was just gonna explode, and I almost like couldn't stand it. And so I was ready to leave anyway. So after the teapot incident, we were just like, all right, let's go. We've got enough. We've been here long enough. We're obviously disturbing whatever is here. And so we went back outside, and as soon as I walked out of the house, like not a step more than over the threshold, the headache just started to dissipate, and then it went away completely. And so I had thought, okay, that's a little weird. I mean, because normally headaches last a little while, and it started when I entered the home and ended when I left the home. So upon doing further investigation of the home after we left, because we didn't do any real research before we went, we just had heard how there's this abandoned house and it's haunted. You guys should go check it out, from one of our friends who knew that we did it. And so we were just like, all right, let's go, let's do this. And so we just went like after school one night, and we didn't do any research beforehand. So afterwards, because of what we got, we wanted to know, okay, what's going on with this house? What happened here? And so we did research on the home, and come to find out, a woman who had lived there about 30 years before that had died to a gunshot bullet to the head. A gunshot bullet to the head. And so that right there just immediately makes you chills down your spine, because that would explain a lot why I was feeling the way that I was in my head area directly. So I was definitely picking up on some feelings from residual energy that was left on the location by this, and it was terrifying, and it made me really sad also, because at the time I just thought it was a headache, you know, like everybody gets headaches. And then to think back on it, had I known in that moment that I was feeling what she was feeling at the moment of her death, I would have tried to call out to her, or to her. I don't know. Like, we didn't think about calling out to anyone specific or aiming it directly at a woman or a man, because like I said, we didn't do research beforehand. But just to know that I was feeling that kind of energy from something that happened that violently in the home, it was really sad, and it was also frightening, because it had to have been a very violent death for it to be powerful enough for me to still feel it 30 years later, and to just, I don't know. It was crazy. It was one of the most crazy experiences of my life. That house was definitely something else, and I don't intend to ever go back there. I don't know if the house has been resold or condemned or what, but whoever lives there, I'm sure if anyone lives there now, that they're definitely experiencing things, because we were only there for maybe a couple hours, and we got as much as we did. We had shadow figures, we had EVPs, footsteps, teapot get thrown at us, EVP saying this device is mine, and then me feeling the residual energy from the gunshot wound to the head of that woman. So that house was definitely haunted. There was a lot of energy in that home, and a lot of it was very, very negative. There wasn't really anything that felt normal about the home. It was a very uncomfortable walkthrough. In every room there was like a dark energy around you, where it was just uncomfortable. Like, you just got the feeling like someone didn't want you in there. And that whole feeling of someone watching you the whole time, I know that's cliche, but it's true. And it is known to where when you, more often than not, if you feel like something is watching you, it probably is. Because not everybody believes in stuff like that, but they are around us. The spirits are around us, whether we would like to admit it or not, out of either fear or just plain disbelief. But they are around us, and it's very sad when spirits are trapped on Earth and they're unable to move on for whatever reason. Either they were taken too abruptly, too soon, they didn't get to say their goodbyes, or whatever it may be. So doing these things and doing investigations and reaching out to these spirits is, I feel, really important, because it gives them a chance to be heard. Because what if that one time you get an EVP, that's the time that that spirit gets to say what they never got to say, and then they get to move on. So with the hopes of giving either them the comfort of having someone to talk to for in however long it's been since they've had that experience, or, God willing, helping someone move on to the other side. That's what we do this for. And I'm really looking forward to our investigation at the Hotel San Carlos on Halloween. So definitely stay tuned for that, and subscribe to our channel so you get the updates that we will be posting before then on that. And let's just hope that I don't feel any residual energy from the woman jumping off the roof, because, you know, that would suck. I don't want to feel every bone in my body be crushed, but I don't think it would be that intense anyways, even if I did. And I'm not counting on something like that to happen again. It was only a one-time experience that I've felt a physical pain from a location. But who knows, this next investigation could be just as intense. It might not be anything at all, but we're definitely looking forward to it. And that is all I have for my stories today this week. So go ahead and subscribe to our channel and like this video, and stay tuned for next week's video.